Okay, so welcome back to day 2 of NodeJS Backend Development. So as from last class, we actually discussed about what's the basic of NodeJS basics and also their syntax, and you also actually learned how to install modules and your current modules and any other. But then for this today class, we actually gets to use the third-party package that you can import, and basically you can create servers and anything that we will do in these classes. Okay, so first of all, we recap on the notice first. Today is 21st of October. So for the next Tuesdays, the class will be postponed, or you can say it's cancelled, and it will be replaced on 8th of November. So it will be another Tuesdays. So we will end our whole courses on Tuesday. So take note on this. So next Tuesday is no class. So for the progress catch up, as you can see from Microsoft Teams, right? You can actually see the recordings of our sessions, and also I also uploaded the codes to the GitHub. The link will be here. So if you want a copy, I can just throw the link to Microsoft Teams. Let me post it here. Oh, it's a little bit. Okay, so this one will be the Node.js course. So basically how you access this is like, let me exit this. You go to your GitHub. You can see, if you go to the link, right, you will see something like this. So day 2 is basically today. You can download it, or maybe after the class you want to catch up, you can download from here. So for the day 1 code, it's really from here. You can refer to day 1. Then this is all the codes that we done last week. I mean this Tuesday. So modules is basically how you import all the stuff and any other stuff. So you can access in here and try to download it or check out to your own computer to play around. So basically this is how you do it. Okay, let's continue to our slide. So last week we actually learned what's the basic of Node.js and also its syntax, but then we haven't started a web server, but then it will do it all together on today. So we'll do how to start a web server today, and what is express our explain later is basically a Node.js framework, as you can say it's an external third-party library. So yeah, today we're covering the second point here. Okay, the rest we'll discover on next week. Okay, so let's continue. We'll get started on our today class. So from the last session, we already learned about all the Node.js basic and all the codes, how you want to do it. And also, if you have JavaScript basics, you can also apply in these sessions. So first of all, I'll explain on what is client and servers. Okay, so referring to this diagram, you can actually see is that there's a browser that requests to a server, and then the server will respond back to browser. So what is actually clients? Okay, client is the browser on the left side here. So left side is client, right side is server. So whenever you go to use your computer or your phone, you go to a website, the website actually will request the content from the server, whichever it works on every website. So every website works the same. It's just that we need to know how the browser goes to the right server. For example, there's like plenty of server out there. For example, Google have its own server, Facebook have its own server, but then how it defines that it get the contents from the correct node server. Okay, so to buy this, in order to get the correct, so every computer actually have IP addresses. Okay, so for example, currently in your computer, you actually got your own computer as well. I mean your own IP address, so that you cannot simply just provide this to anyone, because with the IP access they can actually do a lot of stuff. Okay, so for example, so today you are hosting a website and you are hosting on a server, which is the middle one. So this one will be your IP address. IP address is something like an ID to identify. It is we can say it is a unique value for all of the I mean the hosts out there. So this one will be unique. So for example, when you host a website, let me continue the slides to easier to understand. So when it comes to IP address, you're not gonna just type in the whole IP address in order to access to content. For example, I will just type it here. For example, not sure whether you got what domain. For example, your IP address is this one, the 216.5.8. Okay, I just copy. This one is an example. Working. If this is a live server, it actually will go into the server by typing this IP address. But then the whole bunch of number is very hard to memorize. So we come up with domain names. Okay. So for domain names, we actually have whatever name you like to call it. So if Google, they name their domain name as google.com. So maybe, for example, your name is John Doe. You want to make it a johndoe.com, or also fine. So every domains will actually maps with an IP address if you want to host a server. So whenever a user, so this one on the left side is client. So when you type google.com, so for my case, on the top URL there, I type google.com. So this is basically what I'm talking about when you try to access to google.com. So the moment when you press enter on the URL link, the google.com will actually calls to their server with the link IP address. Okay, so when it calls to the IP address, it locate the server. Okay, once located, it actually post a get request. It's like I want to get content. It's something like a kitchen. Okay, for example, imagine you are in a restaurant. Okay, you are the client, which is google.com. So you order something, you send to the kitchen. So you request food from the kitchen. Kitchen is basically the host, or you can say it's a server. So you request foods. So kitchen will respond you back the foods as well. So for example, for google.com, we request for HTML content. So okay, we will provide back the HTML content to the client. So all this is categorized as a communication is called HTTP connection. So whenever HTTP call that provides in between this, you can see two arrow here. This is called HTTP request. Okay, so we go to the next one. So for now, you understand that when you type in the browser, you will actually cause the server. But then for nodes, we actually will we actually need to create the server on our own by doing coding, not like other coding. I mean, all the other programming language like PHP. PHP actually they have their homes. You can host the PHP under Apache server, a Tomcat server, whichever you like. So, but then for nodes, you can actually just get a Linux computer and then just start the node server on there. So for now, we actually will go to our coding sessions. Okay, so first of all, we will just basically how to create a server from now on. So same thing, we have our VS Code. So for my case, I actually have my VS Code prepared on here. Okay, so for the file structure, sorry, I actually categorize as day one. So for example, today is day two. I actually create a new folder. So for your case, you can decide how you manage your file structure. So for my case, actually, we'll name it as day two. So it's a completely new folder. So, okay, you can notice from the terminal side, currently my directory is in Node.js. Okay, I want to go into the day two folder. So what we will do is we cd will stand for change directory. This one, it depends on your code structure. If you didn't create a new folder, you can just straight comes in here. You no need to perform these steps. So for my case, I will just change to day 2. So you can see my current directory is on Node.js day 2. Okay. So currently it's empty. So first of all, we create a server, we have to do index.js or any JavaScript that you want. So I will create a new JavaScript file. Okay. This is just for the preparation folder because everything you need to start with a JS just for revision. Also the log. Hello. So how do you run the JS as we know from last week? I mean last course. Okay, so basically you just type node and then the file name. It will actually prints out the hello. Okay, this is Node.js basic from last class. Okay, so for now we will learn how to create a server. Let's go back to the slides. So from here we actually can see there's a bunch of code, but then no worries. I will explain one by one. So from last sessions, we actually discover on how to import a Node.js module. So we actually see HTTP on the Node.js module, which is included when you install Node.js. So what you need to do, you just have to import the HTTP into your code. So for my case, we'll do it step by step so that you don't have to straight away look at the code, so many code at once. I will keep on explain while I'm coding. Okay. So first of all, import the module to use it. If you don't import, you don't have the package to use. So this is the syntax as you learned from last session. So once you have completely import, you will start to create the server. Okay. So from here, you will declare a variable. The variable is for your server. You can make it, you call it server. Okay. What it will do is actually we use this HTTP to help it create a server. Okay. We will create a server. For HTTP modules, you can actually refer to the website. Node HTTP modules. There's actually a lot of documentation for you to to read and use. So actually we're not gonna discover everything, but then when in the future you want to want to explore more about HTTP that you want to use, you can come to the website. Okay, so let's go back to the code. So once we create a server, every server have a request. This is REQ stands for request and a response. Just from what you have saw just now from the code. Let me go back to the okay, this one. This is the latest. Okay, we always have a request and a response. Client will request to the server, and then server responds back to the client. Okay, so this is what I'm talking. We always have a request and a response. Okay, so this one is really a functions. Create a server, then call back. So if you want to, if you're not familiar with the functions, you can go back to last week. We actually got discussed about what is the functions, and also you can look up to Google. Actually, what is this? This is actually a request a parameter for you to use. Okay, so whenever a new request come in, for example, client requests anything from the website, it will fire from here. Fire when request come in. Okay, so whenever come in, I want to do that. I want to console the log. Say request was made. Okay. So first of all, what this do is that we will create a server. For now, we haven't started yet because we're just declaring it. Because declaring it won't make you run the code. just now, like last week, if you want to look back at the code, not sure whether is it in here. Okay, never mind, it's not here. But then, so once you declare it, but then you haven't run it, so it will not do anything. So just create a server. This one is whenever you call it. So we want to call the server to listen to the port. Okay, I will explain to you what is the host and also the port later. So for now, we want to listen to the server. Listen is basically like you start the server and then you wait for people to make requests to the server. This is called listener. So we will use these variables because we have the variables here. We create a server. So we will listen to this server. Okay. Actually, this listen is from HTTP. So it has its own SOP, like we say just now, because we are importing stuff that to use from Node.js. It's not code by us, so we have to follow the SOP. So as you can see, when you're pointing to the listens, it will say that the first one will be ports and second will be hostname. Okay. So for now, I'll declare the ports as 80. And then the host will be localhost. I think why we will use localhost later. Okay. So from this code, you can actually see the server will start to listen any requests that have been made to the server. So when when any request made to localhost with the port 80, it will actually fire request made. Okay. So from now, I will do another console log to see whether the server has been start listening. So I will say that we will start listening for requests. Okay, so together in this code, I'll explain everything. So first of all, when you run run this file node in the NodeJS, the server will start to listen to localhost with port 80. So you will see this first listening, because this one will not trigger because currently there's no any request unless someone access it. Okay, let me try. So first of all, I will clear this first. So I'll run index.js. So as you can see, we will start listening for any request that have been made. So the current host is actually being set up. So we will test later this one. So for now, we actually explain what is hostname and also ports. Okay, localhost and port number. So local is actually like the domain name on the website for your local computer. For example, Google is also a domain name. Facebook is also a domain name. But then when you want to develop any codes on your own computer, which is not published yet, you will use localhost. Okay. So first of all, when you do localhost will always point to your IP address, your own local IP address, which is your own computers. So in this throughout this course, we actually will use localhost for our development. Okay, so now we will explain port numbers. Okay, port number, you can actually define it as a door. For example, if you have multi-project running on your localhost, you will see like all the domain is localhost, but then their port number is different. So for example, you have 3 soft application to run right now. For example, you are running Skype. You differentiate this one is a website. So you're running Skype and then Outlook and Discord on a same computer. Okay, you want to host it on the same computer, but then you don't want to make it on different domain names. So you differentiate with the ports numbers. So for example, just now we do 80. So this one, it will put back 80. 3000 is the port number that we define later. So if you want to do multiple, you can actually set 3000. For example, for the Skype, you want to do on another port number, you can do 3001. Then for Microsoft Outlook, you can do it on 3002. So each port will brings you to each different room. You can say something like this. It's like a hotel number, hotel room number. Okay. So you will go to different room based on your door numbers. Okay. So back to creating a server. So this one is the code that we will see just now. But then just now we do on port 80 instead of 3000. This one can be changed. But then right now we are using 80. So to test the server, let me try because we are rerun it. Give me a sec. Okay, let me open back. Okay, so for now, to access to our server, because we already point to localhost. So from here, we actually just type in localhost. So for example, if your port is 3000, then you type in 3000. For now, 80 is the default one, but then you can also do it, but then it will redirect back to localhost. So for example, like, let me clear this. I run again. So, oh, sorry, I got something running. Okay, let me clear again. Okay, so currently it's listening for requests on port 80. So currently there's no request made. So when I want to access localhost, it goes, but then it will not return anything because he just do console.log. See, request made. So for now, it will keep loading. You see on the top left, I mean on the top bar, you keep loading because we haven't defined any response to be sent back to the client. So for now, we will talk about how we play around with the request and also how do you define the response. Okay, we'll go back to the slides. So one request has been made. It will log the request made. Okay, so first of all, you can see on the left side. So on the code. So this one is the request, and this one will be response. Currently, we are not using anything from the request and the response. So what we're gonna do is that, for example, request is made for you to get any information from the client side. For example, you want to get their URL and also maybe their IP address and where they come from and then what they do. So for example, you can from here, if I want to see the URL that they use, so I'll just put IQ, which is from the parameter here. Then I press dot. Then you can see a few things that you can log out. But then for now, I'll do URL. So to see what where does it come from, and also the request method. So what is request method is actually a ways to get something. For example, request method, there's get, post, put. We will explain this later. So whenever you try to access a website, it's always a get because you want to get content. So the keyword get is the request method. Okay, so let me close this. Let me save and rerun. Okay, so for now, I will rejoin the server again. I will refresh, or it will auto refresh. So for now, you can see it on console log the URL. For now, it's empty because you don't have any port right here. So for example, if you type in homepage, localhost / homepage, this one is the path that you specify. You press enter. So you can see this is the / homepage, and this one I always get. It will be the get method. So from the REQ, you can actually get a lot of information that from the client side. Depends on what you want to do with them. So for example, like you want to track their URL or their IP address, you can use this to actually track it. Okay. So for now, we explain about on the request. Now we have to define a response, because if we don't define a response, their website will always not get anything back. So it will see the sites can't be reached because we don't return any response to them. So for now, we actually talk about our response object. Okay. Let me just starts from coding. So in the response coding, response object, right? We actually can decide what we want to return. So you can actually return a text or an HTML. It depends. So first of all, I will just delete this request. Okay. So for now, we want to define. Okay. We want to tell browser to know what is the content, the response content. So for example, you want to respond text instead of a HTML. Okay. So you will use this response here. You will set it yourself. Okay, you will set the set header. You can actually set a lot of things. This one you can also refer to their documentation. So for now, header, I will set it as a content type. Set it as a normal text. Okay, so what it actually does is that it tells the browser that you are sending text plain content type. So if HTML will do the same thing, but then this plain will be text.html. But then for now, we will do plain first. Later, I will show you how to do on the HTML one. So for now, after you define what the content type for the response, so for now, you will start to write what will be in your response. So from here, you will define, write the response. I can say is right. Okay. So from here, you can write whatever you want. So for example, you want to say welcome. So whenever someone access to your local host, I mean yourself access to your local host, you will see the website will actually write welcome. So after you write, you have to end the session, unless if not, it will keep on waiting for it to write finish. It will still keep loading. So this one will not come up. So let me save it and we will try to see whether the welcome will become up. So let me save it and then I will run the code again. So it says listening for ports. Okay, so for now, I actually want to request to localhost. So actually you can see the text file. It says welcome is a little small. I will zoom in. See, actually says it's welcome. So this one is a fully txt file, text folder. Let me reset the zoom first. So what if you are hosting a website, but then you don't want to display just a simple welcome to the client? You want to make it a HTML page, because you want to make for example, Google, they have their own HTML as well. The whole thing is actually a HTML, including other CSS and all. So for your case, you're thinking that the text file is quite simple. You want to make it a HTML. So for your case, you can actually do that. Same thing, you want to define the content. Right now, you are not returning HTML anymore. I mean, you are not returning normal text anymore. You want to return HTML. So you need to tell the browser that currently you are returning HTML. Okay. So for the easiest way to do it, you want to same thing, the HTML. For example, you do HTML before, you know what is paragraph. The P, and then you say it's welcome. I mean, hello world. So from here, this is a HTML tag. If you want to write more, you can actually do it. For example, you can do it any H1. For example, you want different tag. H1 stands for heading, the first heading. So you can edit any HTML that you like here, but then this one is a bad way to respond back the HTML, because your HTML is not gonna just be like just one line here. So if you want to do something like a more complex HTML code, you actually requires to touch on the file structure. I'll explain you later, but then for now, we'll test on the simple HTML response. So let me restart the server again. Okay, it says listening on port 80. So for now, I'll refresh. Actually become a HTML. So this one will be heading 1. So whenever you want to add something, you want to change or anything, start over. And you restart the server. Actually, it will change. So, but then if you have a long, I mean, you have very long kind of HTML, it's not just one line. You can use file structure. So let me go to the slide first. Okay, this one is the HTML simple version. So for the HTML page that you want to return, so we actually touch on the file structure because when you host a server, you can imagine that server is actually a computer that opens 24/7. So server actually stores the HTML that you want on your computer or aka on the server. So whenever a client actually want to request for the content, it actually goes to the file. For example, in your computer, you have local DC, then my documents and something like that. Server has also all these kind of directories. So it actually goes to its own file storage to look for the HTML you requested and then send back to the client. So this one is a much more cleaner way instead of you just write the whole HTML inside the server that we mentioned now. For example, you just write everything here. We don't want this because once your server has host a lot of pages and also the HTML is very long, this code will be very messy to maintain. So how to actually return HTML page? From last class, we actually learned about how to read a file, right? So we actually use the read file from the file system modules. You can see from the top side to actually get the folder, I mean the file from our file system. Okay, so we'll do step by step how we actually accomplish this. So in order to do simple stuff, so for now we have to create a new file, I mean new folder to actually store all the views, basically all the HTML. From here, I actually create a HTML file here. We call it index.html. So for now, it actually will be very empty here. So I will just copy a simple HTML page from my previous project that I've done. It's quite simple. Actually, just a heading and if two headings. So this one is a HTML that I want to respond to our client. Okay. So from here, we actually will do that. Let me download compile. Okay. So first of all, same thing. You have to tell the browser that what you are going to return. This one will remain unchanged. So the things is that this one will be different. The rest dot right. So what you need to do for now, you have to import the file system modules first. So from here, how you import, same thing as HTTP. You declare a variable, we call it as fs, file system, require fs. So for now, we have successfully import our file system. Okay, so for now, we actually will do send an HTML file from storage. So what is storage? Basically, we actually have a file. It's called view. And then inside here, we have actually stores index.js. This one is called storage. Okay. So from last class, we have two read file. So we actually want to read the content from the, read the content from the file. So we'll declare, I will not repeat this again. So I'll just read direct goes to the index.html. and read the file, read the data out from. So index HTML has its own data, which is the whole stuff here, the whole thing. So from here, after you read, you have to check whether if there's any error first. So if there's error, I will try to console out the error, just like last class. Then stop here. And I will actually end the session here instead of letting the client to keep on spinning. Okay. So from here, we actually get the data from the HTML. We want to write it actually like this. So actually we'll write the response here inside the read file. Okay, so from here, I actually want to write the index HTML instead of this hello world line. So what we do is that we just throw the data here. It's just that simple. So previously this one is a string, but then once you read the file content, you can just straight away throw it here. So that whatever response it actually gets from the index HTML. Okay. So to explain again, when you read file, you will read from the index.html, which is the HTML file that we just created just now. So when you trying to read the file, you actually see whether there is any errors. So if no error, you surely will read the data. So from the code, actually will do, if there's an error, we will log out the error. So if no, we will continue to write the data. We'll respond the HTML back to our client. Okay, so let's now we try to run the file system to respond our HTML line. So let me refresh. You can actually see this index HTML is from the storage. It's from here. See the same content. Welcome to Kinetics Node.js course. Okay, so from here, actually no need to keep on writing. For example, you have a long line, just edit from the HTML. For example, I want to add on more dots. Okay, let me restart the server. I just edit from the HTML instead of coming to index.js, so that these pages don't have to be so complex. So let me refresh. See, there's triple dots here because I just modified the HTML file. Okay, so this one is basically how you return a response HTML page to our client using Node.js only. But then later on, we'll explore on Express, which is a Node.js framework. Actually, we'll simplify out the version for responding file. So we'll do comparison later. So yeah, you have to understand how Node.js return page work first. So we'll then goes to Express. So for now, currently we are doing for one page only. Okay, because in your website, you surely will have a lot of pages. For example, you have your home page, you have your About Us page, and many more. So in order to handle multiple page, we'll do routing. Okay, so what is our routing? Routing is actually like, for example, in your local host, or your any website, you talk about homepage and also your about or your blogs. So you have slash, all this slash behind. So for example, you want to go to your home page, you slash home. You want to go to your login page, slash login. You want to go to your about page, you go to slash about. So this one is basically how you do your routings. Okay, so how we actually do it is that this one is how Node.js ways to do it. It's quite how to say, quite basic level. It's just a normal JavaScript. It just keep on switch the case pair, or you can use if else. Okay, this one is JavaScript word. For example, let me try on my side so that you can understand better. Okay. So first of all, same thing. You want to remain this, we'll use back this thing. Let me see. Index. Okay. So first of all, in this read file, we actually will change this to the correct path. So because you're not gonna always be index.html. For example, I want to create a new file called about HTML. And then I want to create another one is 404 not found. So for example, the page is not found, then you comes to 404. So same thing, I'll copy and paste the HTML code. It's the same thing from before, just the content is just changed to about page. And then 404, I will do that. It will say that, oops, page is not found. So the HTML, later on, you can do it on yourself to whatever you like, or you can just get the code from the GitHub to try it out, to see how to actually route to all these 3 different HTML. Okay, so once your HTML has prepared, meaning your foot has been prepared, you have to split out. Okay, so normal way we do it. For example, if you want to go to about, you just about the HTML. But then this one is way too hard coded. For example, if you want multiple page, you cannot do it from here. So using normal JavaScript ways to do it, we actually will do variables for this. Okay, I'll actually name this as a path first. I'll do it route, call it as routing. Category. So first of all, I'll declare a variable path equals to view first, because view is not gonna be changing, will not keep on changing. So this thing will be constantly here because all our file is inside of views, unless you have things to change here. So just the about HTML that we want to switch between each different HTML. Okay, so we'll make it like this first. Okay, so we'll throw the path inside here. Here, okay. So this one will become a variables that been used by the read file. It depends on what file you want to read. Okay. So for the next step, we want to depends on the slash, for example, to reflect on what I was talking just now, is that this one is a home page. So what if you want to go to different page? You type a slash about. Maybe this one is another page, and then a slash login is another page. So by doing this different slash, they respond with different HTML. So we will actually do a switch case. Switch case is actually just define. Let me write down first. I'll explain to you later on. So in order to do the switch case, I'll just copy this. Request URL. You still remember the request URL that we just now talked about? It actually will read what are the path behind the document. For example, right now will be slash logins, and then if you do slash about, it will take slash about. Okay. So in order to switch here, we actually do a scenario. So for example, if the URL doesn't contain a name, if it's blank, we will go to the normal one, which is index. So if the thing is about slash about, we will serve. Okay. So the default means anything else. So if it's not empty slash or it's not slash about, it will goes to a 404 not found page. I missed something. You have to click on every switch case. This one is on JavaScript stuff. Let me copy this. Okay, so from here we actually can see that when a URL came in, it will detect what are your path. If you're empty, it will serve the index HTML. If it has a about, it will serve different HTML based on the URL So after it appends, so for example, my one is, let me try to console log this thing so that you can understand better. So I'll log the URL out so that later we can check the code together. So for now, let's test. We test on 3 different pages that we want to route to. Okay, so for now, I'll restart the server. Okay, so server has been restarted. So for now, so if it's empty, it goes to home page. We serve the HTML, right? So what if, because currently it's empty. So for now, I want to go to, ignore this one. Okay, so for now, if you want to go to about, you serve the about.html, which is a different content. So from here, it actually detects what is /about. Okay, I mean, currently you are doing a case between, if the case is /about, which is we printed out here. Currently the thing is about, so it will serve the about HTML page. This one is a Node.js ways to do it, to do the routing, but then later on we'll use Express to do this as well. So we don't have to do so long to route to any. In Express, we actually have very easy codes to actually implement all these. Later, I'll show you guys how to actually do Express for routing. Okay, so for now, we actually talk about status code. For those who have done programming before, you'll learn about status code. So you can see from here, you can see 200, which is a successful get, and 301 is basically just to tell you that this one, this patch is currently being moved to other, other resource. So 404 page, which is you have not found any. For example, just now we have a 404 page, right? We have, for example, I want to type login page, which which is not found because we haven't created anything. So it actually says that page is not found. This one is 404. So we'll talk about the status code to let our client know that what response they get. So for example, whether that this page is displaying correctly or not. So internal server error. So anyone knows. So for example, so actually it has a very wide range. For example, 100 is for information purpose. So normally you can see like 2xx, so 201, 202, 203. So it's called success. So if you see 200 is basically success. 300 is for redirect. 400 is basically errors. 400 and 500 is called errors. 400 is from user or client error. So 500 is basically comes from server. So means that server have issue. So how do you see this status code? I'll teach you the guys later. So for example, Google, we'll take Google as an example. So when you try to access some page that Google that doesn't exist, it will show you that you hit error because the URL is not exist. So you might see this page before. And also when Google is down, you will see 500 error, which is their server is down. They will say that they ask you to try again another 30 seconds because based on their, they will try to repair their server. So from these status codes, we know that what type of the response or the content that the server will respond to us. So in order to do status codes, because we want to let partner know that the current page is currently found or what. So because if we don't return status code, partner will always, the client will always get the 200. For example, when it comes to 404 without the status code, or you think that, oh, I got the correct content from the server because the status code is 200. Okay. So we want to define each status code by this. So for example, for index such as HTML, this is a correct response. We will give them back status 200. same to about HTML. So for 404 HTML, actually page is not found. We want to return an error message. So we'll actually write the status code as 404. So for now, I'll do, okay, this is basically how we view the status. So from this image, you can actually see the status is 200, which is success. I will demonstrate one time how to actually do it. But then first of all, I'll do it on our server first. 200, 200, and also 404. Okay. So we actually see that 2 will be success. This one will be error. Let me clear this and I'll rerun the server. Okay. So first of all, I'll go to normal page. I missed out something. Okay, from here. So how do you come to this page is that you right click, inspect. Okay. So from here, you press the network button. So you can see there's a network issue, network log. So when I refresh the page, okay, you actually see I get the 200 status because you can double click it to see, actually get the HTML. This one is header, we get HTML back. There's a lot of information you can read from here. So the next thing we want to go to about is the same thing because we return 200. So if you go to any page that we doesn't exist, because we set 404, yeah, we will see this red thing. So that our client will know that this page is actually not found. So if you didn't write any status, default, it will always return 200. Okay, so that then the website will know that, oh, this one is actually a page doesn't exist error. Yeah, so this is how you define the response. Okay, let's continue back. We'll talk about redirect. So what if you want to have two same URL, for example, from here you can actually see about and about me shares the same HTML, but then you want to have these two URL to let them use. For example, when you type about, to explain what I'm talking about, okay, slash about will come to here, Kinetics about page. So for now, when we try to run about dash me, it actually goes to page not found because we haven't defined the content for it. But then the content that we want to use for about me is about.html, which is the one that we do. This one, about.html. So what we're gonna do, we copy this one, same thing. We open up a new case. It's called about me. So this one will actually works, but then this code will actually works, but then you repeat the code. You will repeat the code. So what we do, we want to redirect. We redirect when anyone try to access about me, it will redirect back to about. This is the things that we're gonna do. So for this use case, we actually use on login. For example, you are an unauthorized user, we will be auto redirect back to your login page. So normally the use case will be the real life use case will be this. So from the code, we actually do that about me. We will set header. Header you can set a lot of header. Just now we do that one header is content type. For now, we want to set back the location. So for now, when it comes to about me, we actually send back the location back to about. Okay, so let me demonstrate. So we will not do this. We will set the header. We'll do locations. We'll set back to about. It's called /about. It's not about. Okay, then we will end the connection. If not, the server will keep on spinning so that it goes to about to start again. Okay, so for now, we will try. So whenever we try to do on, just now we do try to run about me, actually page not found. For now, the flow will be when you type in about me, it will actually redirect back to about. So you notice the URL link here. So once I press enter, okay, did I not restart the server? Illegal operation, location, about. Okay, let me restart the server again. I think there's something wrong here. Press dot set header. We then end it. Okay, let's stop right data. This one. Okay, let me check whether there's something wrong about the code. Now we actually set a status code back to 301. So 301 actually to define that this one has been permanently moved to this location, which is slash about. Okay, let me this. Okay, let's see if about works. Okay, okay, now it works. So you have to set the status to say that this resource has been permanently moved to about. So for example, you want to do it like about me is same as about. Okay, you notice from the URL link. So for now, I'll try to run about me. Actually redirect back to the about. So this is actually how redirection works. Okay, so to let you digest a bit on the HTTP, we can take a small rest. You go to bathroom and then you rest a while to digest all the information that I brought here. So actually this one I'll explain once again before we go into take a break. So when it comes into the, first of all, we'll listen to the port 80. Okay, so server has been started. So any request that made from the client side will fire here, will comes into here. So for now you define what is the response that you want to provide to the client. So mostly is HTML, or you want to, if you want to do API, API is mostly JSON or text file, normal plain text. Depends on you. So for this case, we will return HTML. Okay. So all this routing actually is from basic JavaScript. That's why we'll see quite a long list of codes. But then with the use of Express, we actually can simplify it. So later on, we will actually learn how to simplify. This one is just for you to have an understanding on how do you do routing, how do you redirect, and what are the status code. But then in the future, if you want to do node server, you don't have to follow this guide to do routing and redirect, because there's a more simple way and will mostly used by everyone in the world, because this one is very hard to understand. And then if your project is very large, this one will be a headache for all the programmers. So you can take a lot on how we do routing, and then how we set status codes, and then how we provide the source, I mean the file, to based on the request URL. Okay, you can actually refer to the slides as well after the class or right now. So we'll take a break. We'll come back on 8:40 because we have the last part, which is the express, which is simplify everything from here. So we'll continue our class on 8:40. So now just take a small break. So I'll open the code here, minimize a bit so that you guys can refer. Okay, let's take a break. Okay, it's 8:40. We'll continue back to our Node.js course. So for now, we will learn about Node.js Express. But then first of all, we actually talk about what is npm, because right now we are gonna to install third-party package from uh from the community so that we can use. We don't have to create from our own. So first of all, we talk about npm. So actually, you can say it's a package manager where everyone will post or upload their utility codes to the npm page for you to download. So you can see there's a large. That's why we say that Node.js is a huge community, because uh, they can use the HTML, I mean the npm, to install software library to their project. So actually, you can access to npm.js, mjs.com. So from here, you can actually see a lot of packages. For example, we want Express. It actually comes from here. Express. Oh, sorry, one more S. Okay, Express. And also other stuff. Depends if you want to. We can see from popularity, that's what there is any Express that we can use. There's a lot of people that post their codes on here, so you can use it. But then you have to see the rating and all as well. So in order to install the package on a computer, you actually just run the npm install whatever names that their package is like. So we'll demonstrate one round first. So npm, you can actually install package globally and locally. So from here, I explain what is global and what is local. So you don't have to follow, because this one is just for the demonstration purpose. But then for node some of it, if you have follow, you can just follow me to install. Okay. So for globally, you can follow, because this one will be helpful for all your future projects and your current project as well. So this package we're gonna use it is called nodemon. So as I say just now, in order to install your package, you actually just write in the commands, which is npm install nodemon. The -g is basically the flag for global. So what globals mean is that when you're installing a package globally, means that it install on your computer. So every projects that creates on these computers will have access to nodemon. So basically, every new project that you create, you can use nodemon. No need to keep on install again and again. So from now, we actually will do the ways to install nodemon. But then for my case, I actually install it, so I will not do it again. So from the side, we actually can see you just type npm install -g nodemon. So actually, we'll install nodemon for you on your computer. So installing nodemon, there's possible issue. If you have access issue, you can refer to the slides to throw these commands into your terminal. Then you run again, then you should be solve the issue already. After you run these solutions, then you run npm install -g nodemon again. Then should be no problem at all. So what if you want to install the package locally for your projects? So this is an example package. You don't have to install it, because this one is just a sample on how do you install. So in order to keep track the dependency, okay, you have to initiate a package JSON. So package JSON will lies under your project. Let me demonstrate what is package JSON. Okay. So for now, if I want to install this, you don't have to do it on yourself. But then package, because for this project, I haven't I haven't installed the package, this low dash package. So I will try to install on this on this project. So first of all, I want to initialize a package JSON. Okay, I just type in npm init. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, npm init on the terminal. So after you run it, it will ask you a lot of questions like what is the package name? I mean the project name. You just press enter, default. You can key in based on your preference, but then for me, I just skip everything. So it will default everything for me. So if you want to specify, you can just fill in one by one. So after finish, you will see there's a new file created. It's called package.json. This package.json is just basically for day 2 only. So in day 1, you can't use the package.json, only in day 2. So from here, you can actually see the project specifications. You can also manage all your install package here. So for example, you need somewhere to install to keep track what you have installed. For example, your control panel. Let me your control panel, you can uninstall the software and all. Yeah, it's some kind of that to track your package. Okay, so for example, just now I want to install the Lodash. Okay, from the slide, I actually want to install Lodash. So I will run the code. You can see from here, we actually didn't write the -g because -g stands for global. We don't want to install it on our computer. We want to install it on this specific projects only. So same thing. I'll type in terminal npm install Lodash. This one I just demonstrate a sample package for you. Maybe you don't need to use this package, then you don't install it on your computer. So once I npm install, it actually will start to install the third-party package into our projects. Okay, so you can see once I already install it, it actually will load it here. It will say that what you have to install and what version is your package. Okay, so what will this do is that, for example, if you have a multiple programmer in your company or your group, okay, so you want to switch around, you want to keep on share the project around, okay, so you can see one thing that comes together when you run npm install is node modules. Node module is basically all the files that you install into your project. It's basically a lot of JavaScript. So for example, if you have bunch of package install, node module can be big. So it's like gigabytes or anything. So this thing is not gonna be up to GitHub. Node module is always will be ignored. So no one will upload node modules to GitHub or anything. So for example, if you want to import a code from your friends or from your colleagues, it's a new code. You actually refers to package.json. For example, right now I have Lodash installed, so I can actually delete these node modules. Okay, it doesn't matter. So what I deleted, but then in our package.json, it actually will still specify this. So what you do is just npm install. You don't have to specify any package name. So once this script is running, it actually gets all the dependency and their version to install everything. So you can see after I write this, node models will come back again, and then all the JS. So this is the importance of package.json to keep track of your packages. So in order to use it, same thing. You can just require same thing. You do HTTP, you use file system, you require, and then you use based on their documentation. So for Lodash, they actually have documentation. There's a lot. How do you use it? For example, just now I'm doing random. It's actually from here. Actually helps you to randomize integer between the specified number. So from the code, actually can see I also do this. So it comes out a random number between 0 and 20. This is the third-party package. So we don't have to do the coding on ourselves. We can just use the utility from created by the others. Okay. So dependency is based on package.json that I just now has explained. So I just now you say that Node.js Node modules will be huge, so that it will not be uploaded to GitHub or GitLab. So just now like I perform, I actually run npm install to download all the modules from the package.json. So package.json is very important if you want to manage, if you have package in your projects. So yep. So now after you know how to install a package, we actually want to talk about Express already. This is the last part. So Express, you can actually comes to npm.js. You can see, actually you can see from here. This is the library, the package. It actually have a documentation and basically teach you how to install. You can just follow. So for example, for now, I want to install Express. Same thing. In my terminal, I do npm install. Then I save it in package.json. So it will keep load. So after install successfully, you can see this one will come up in your package.json, and your node module will have a log, which is the package from Express. Okay. So this is what I say. When you install something, it has a lot of stuff. So you're not gonna deploy or upload all the node modules code to GitHub. So how to do this is that you will do git ignore, so that this thing will be ignored when you try to upload to GitHub. So for example, that you see when you try to, if you did ignore this, there's 1K file from around 1K plus from node module. So if you ignore node modules, you save it. So this one will be grayed out. Then you can see when you want to upload to GitHub, it's only 11 files compared to just now 1K plus. Okay, for now we will ignore the node modules that to be deployed to be uploaded to GitHub. So when you want to download the code from GitHub, for example, today day 2 class we have package. You want to download it. So remember to run npm install, because we have used the package. If you don't have the node modules, you cannot use the package because you have to have it installed in your computer or in your projects. Okay, so let's continue. Once we install the Node.js Express, we'll talk about what's actually Express. So Node.js Express is actually how you manage your HTTP request. For example, just now, client will actually get content from the server, and also we actually did routing or redirects and many more. Just now you can see the very confusing code, the switch case and all. So basically this one will simplify all the process. Okay, so most of them can say most of the programmer will use Express rather than just Node.js only, because this one is easily manageable, all the things. Okay, so for now we want to create a Node.js Express. So just now we can see from our old code, when we are without the Express, you see we want to return the HTML, it actually looks like this. It's a very long code. So if with Express, it actually just 4 lines of codes. Okay. So first of all, you want to import Express. Let me do it one by one. So I'll just leave the index.js here just for you to compare. I'll create a new one. It's called, how do I call this? I create app.js. Okay. So this one is completely new file that will do the same thing as this long. You remember this one will 54 lines. Okay. So first of all, I'll run the basic one. I'll import the Express for our apps first, because we already installed the Express. Okay. Once we import, we want to make it variables. So from here, actually push this as a apps. Okay, this one is basically same as the one that we do create server. Okay, but then you don't have to be that long, get speed up. So first of all, we'll run listen on the apps. Okay, just how we do is server.listens. Okay, this one we actually do it on apps on the Express application. You can define this. You don't have to be apps. You can do server. It depends on your choice. But then for now, I do app. So I'll listen to same thing. Okay, sorry. Listen. I'll do listen for request here. Okay, so from here, you always listen to localhost. But then depends on. For now, you have to listen to what doors that you want. For example, the ports. Same thing. We put back 80. As simple as that. They have to write this long kind of code and then create server. You just do add equals to express, then you listens. Okay, this one is how you do it. So one is listening. For now, let's see. Okay, we actually will run a normal home page first. So for now, we will actually do the basic one, which is serve the response back the index HTML. Okay, so how we actually respond? I'll teach you here. So for now, to get requests, in order to use the switch case, I mean from here, you don't have to keep on doing the switch case and all. You can just slash, because this one is the base route, you don't have anything. You remember that just now the request.url, this is the base path. So from here, you can put request and response. Anything. So once any request that comes to the slash between the base path, it will actually trigger here. So what we do is that we will send back the HTML, a basic HTML. So how do we send back HTML? Refer to the code. Actually says that rest.send. Okay. So from the previous, we actually will write rest.write, but then from Express, we actually just write rest.send. Okay. So rest.send and h1 welcome. Okay, and then Express is very smart because you don't have to let the let the response on. Just now you remember that we actually want to set header to define what are the content type. Express can identify this one is an HTML, so that the response type will be HTML. Okay, so to run this, okay, this one is basically how you set out a basic Express app. So to run, remember just now we installed NodeMon on global. So the NodeMon is basically helps you to restart your server. So for example, like let me demonstrate without NodeMon, you will run, for example, currently my application name is app.js. Okay. So for now, let me start this. Okay, so anything that I change, let me try localhost. It's welcome. So whenever things I change, it will not auto restart. Okay. NodeMon is actually a package that helps you to auto restart your server whenever it detects a change. So if I do NodeMon app.js, it actually says watching the server on any extension. So it will be restart anytime once the thing changes. So for example, right now is got 3 symbols. So whenever I want to remove the symbol, so by the time I save, you can see it says restarting due to change. So we don't have to keep on restart the server. So from this case, you can speed up your productivity and also helps in all your future project development. Okay, so let me see the code. Okay, just double confirm if I'm muted. So to continue, same thing as before. After we have created Express app, we want to do routing. Just now we also learned about routing, but then in a Node.js way. You can see it's quite hard without Express. You do switch case. This one is very complex, so that I mean, in the future, if you have a lot of HTML page, you will see there's a lot of case that you need to write. But then with Express, it's quite simple. So you just copy the same thing from before. So for example, about slash about, you come to about page. Okay, so this will take over from here. So for example, I want a third, so it will be this. So maybe one more page is called block. So I will return block page. So if you have more, you just keep on adding it. Instead of you need to switch case and then you set header one by one. Okay. So once you save it, auto restart. So same thing, localhost. So whenever I want to try to route to /about, okay, it goes to about page. So as simple as that. You don't have to write so long. You don't have to write the switch case. You just keep on. If you want to have more routes, you just copy the app.get to until the amount that you like. For example, how many routing that you like. So remember just now when we want to use HTML files, right? We will do a long codes like, let me revise you a bit. So if you want to read file from storage, you actually can see this one is the length to run the code. Okay, so for Express, actually it's very easy to do it. Let me come back to this code. So in order to run back the, let me see here. Okay, in order to send back the file, okay, let me remove this first, these two. I will keep this one for the revision, simple HTML. So in order to return file, we will just do res.send file or res.send. Okay, from here, you locate your file. For example, your file is under view index.html. Same thing, views index.html. This is your file, okay? But then you have to specify your current root path. If you still remember this name, your current directory, okay? You have to specify which one is your directory, because for now we are day 2. The root directory will be day2/views/index. If you don't put this, it will stay come from Node.js/view, but then we don't have any /view here. Okay, so we have to define where do we start. So for example, their name is day2, because from the first class that we learned about, the their name is a global variables. So their name, so the dot will be their name, which is day2 view index.html. Okay, so same thing. We'll copy to about. Then I bring it to about HTML. Auto restart. Let me go to server. Normal page. Okay, same HTML that we used just now. /about. It gets back the HTML. So this is basically how you do routing and also get back the files to your client. So this is basically how you respond the file. It's quite simple as just writing one line to send what file that you want, instead of just switching the case, keep on routing, and then set what content type that you want, and then read and write. So you don't have to do this kind of long thing. You just use Express and then define what file location that you send, then define the root directory, and that's all for routing and sending files. So let's continue to the last part. Redirects. Redirect will be just now, as you can see, when we type about me, it actually go back to about from the old codes, if you still remember. So from the case, you want to actually do about me here. Okay, about me, the whole, and then, so this one will be about me. Okay, but then we don't want to let him to send any HTML or text or even file. We want it to redirect back to the about page. Okay, how we're gonna do it is that from here we remove this first. Same thing, we define the rest dot redirect. It's just simple as that. Redirect to where? Okay, redirect to slash about. So as you can see from the code, when someone's try to access to slash about me, it will redirect to slash about. Let me show you one time. Okay, so from here slash about me, you see, you jump back to slash about. This is how redirect works. So the next one will be a middleware. So for example, like if you want to do a 404 page, for example, someone tried to access to somewhere that you not existing that in your server, so you actually do 404 page, like just now what we do. We actually do default, then 404 HTML. So this one is very complex. How we do is that, see from the above we use get. In order to do middleware means that it will triggers every time when requests come in. So for example, for now I will use app use and then request response. Okay. So from here you can actually see the difference. Okay. So in the middleware, we don't specify what path that they comes from. Okay, what path they comes from. It will triggers every time from any request, when it listens to anything. So if anything, I mean if it triggers this, actually this one is a 404. So I would run back to send back them the 404 page. And you have to remember, for example, this one is the JavaScript actually top to bottom. For example, that this one will be the last one. So when people come in, actually first one, you check whether the path is this one. So if not, it goes down to about to check, or you are currently trying to access slash about, or if not, it'll keep going down. It's step by step, it won't keep jumping. So the last resort, for example, if still not about me, it comes here. So for example, like for now, I will demonstrate what I'm talking about. For now, I try to access Lala, which is page is not found. Okay, we didn't specify Lala here. Okay, this one is middleware. So what if I move this to the second part, which is after the slash? So meaning that once the code reach here, it will not go to block, about, block, and about me. Meaning that this 3 page will be gone. Because this one will trigger every time the request come in. So this 3 will be useless already. So let me show you. So if you want to try to access about, okay, for now it will say page not found. Okay, because when the request came in, it goes to this one. Because you try to access about, this one is not about. Okay, the next thing it says that, oh, no more requests. I mean, no more routes to get already because this one has been cut off already. So it will trigger 404 not found. Okay, so for now, if I move back to bottom, auto restart, about, see, you go back to about page. So JavaScript is actually a top to bottom language. So for middleware, you have to be cautious on where you want to put it. So will be like this. So in order to send file, you just write send file instead of just writing the whole thing. So middleware, try to see whether the code says either the page is not exist, you just throw it in the last resort. So after it checks on every path, it still cannot find the resource, then you only comes to 404. So this one is based on your designer. So whether you want the middleware to do anything that you desire, you make them to do. So I think that's it for the class. So you can revise a bit. I will commit the last code to the GitHub. So if you are unable to catch up to the speed or you are unsure of anything, you can just ask the questions on Microsoft Teams while referring to the code that I commit to GitHub. So yeah, remember when you want to install dependency, remember to write npm install or when you check out your projects. Okay, so remember next week, next Tuesday's no class. So we will meet again on Friday. So yeah, see you guys. Any questions, you can leave it on the comments. And yeah, that's all. You can leave now. Thank you.